Dun, dun, dun. And we're live. Yes. I gotta say, we're a pretty good team, you and I.
Must be in our genes.
It must be. I agree. Hey, everybody, welcome. We are only 6 minutes late today. Woo, that's amazing.
Yes, it seems the techie world is shifting, or electricity, or something's happening because we've had issues pretty much a lot of the times. We overcome them, but right?
Yeah, because we're problem solvers like that. Hey, Alan, how are you doing? Glad she's with us. Very good. So now that I've got everything organized for you, can I just go grab something to drink?
Sure. You want me to talk to people?
Yeah, make it interesting though, will ya?
Okay.
Alan, keep him on his game.
Okay, I am trying to get on my phone where I can look at our lives so that I can see who's on and all those types of things. So give me a second here, but how are you doing? I don't know why I can't get the live. This is so weird. Anyways, me and Michelle just talking about, here we go. Okay, now we go. Hello, strangers. Yes, we see you. This is great. We love it. Um, we were just saying quickly that Michelle and I got like carpal tunnel. Okay, so I have my hand up. People know what's wrong with me, but yeah, we've just been running into these weird techie little things, and something that's worked for Michelle forever.
Your face is frozen. What am I what's
All of a
happening?
sudden, Michelle's having an issue with her video.
Hmm. Your face was frozen, but it's back.
Yeah, what it's saying, it says my internet is unstable. Not me, my internet.
Well, we're in a non-judgment zone. We'll let you believe it's not you. It's all good. It's
Right.
all good.
So you're back to work, or you said you were off work, but only for one, right?
Because yeah, so I don't miss Weight Watchers. Like that's the end of my story. I
Yeah.
think in 10 years I missed it through maybe I'm going to be generous and say 4 times probably, but that it gives me joy. Even when I'm exhausted going in, I feel amazing walking out. So that yeah. So it's yeah, it's a whole different thing. But it was great connecting with my people and
Good.
it's not uh it's very windy in the rural areas, so I was pretty impressed that we had like 40 people because I was
Good for
expecting to
you.
be like
Is
20
this
people.
live that you do it?
Yeah,
Is
like
it live or remote?
no, like I'm standing, people see my legs. I
Michelle,
have to get
you're
dressed,
frozen now.
Tom. I have to get dressed twice a week or once a week. I'm frozen, you're frozen. I think you're frozen. What do you think?
I hope I'm not frozen. There you are. Are you? You were frozen?
I don't think I was. I don't know. Elan, tell us. Let us know. We don't have feelings. You can
Yeah.
let us know.
Well, it's weird
Tell
because
Tom.
like I saw what what's weird. Okay,
Tell
when
me.
you say I'm frozen, your screen's frozen.
Yeah, it should be.
Oh, I can't be smart with everything.
Well, well, isn't that the truth?
I
Um,
just want to state that right now.
I get like honestly, when I'm doing these like Zooms with my big groups, I never know if it's me or if it's them. Because if it's me, I still move, but they don't move. Right? And then they'll tell me. And then I just always hope that it's decent. You know what I mean? That I'm not like, because that happens. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm you know what?
What?
You know what?
Took him back.
Okay, just make sure you're live and I'm live. I don't want you to be like some AI or something.
Right? Could you
Um,
imagine I was
but
never
yeah,
your
it's just
sister? It's an
Can you imagine if you've never talked to me, this was all in your
My
mechanical engineered mind?
Hey, what happens in Fight Club stays in Fight Club. That's all I got to tell you,
That's right.
right? Exactly.
Wendy, hi, Wendy.
Hey,
Um,
tell me what you learned this week, Tom.
well, I don't know where his week was. My week was insane. Um, Lots of moving parts. Some really sad stuff this week. I had some people that I know fairly well. One of them, their 27-year-old daughter took her life.
Oh no.
Yeah, in a very not in a very good like it's never in a good way, but this was made it even worse.
Yeah.
And then
Oh
hey
dear.
John, oh that's you.
Hi,
Michelle is dual
look,
personality,
who's John?
or she works for the government. Um, and
Right?
then I had another friend who's like I didn't know this man, but this friend of mine, the daughter, Teresa knows the mom and all that. But 3 years ago, son who was in his early 20s overdosed, and last weekend the biological father overdosed. And the biological
Oh,
father, which I didn't know, was kind of a bit of a drug dealer selling his son. So all of these, so the one person, it was horrible. There's some mental health issues for the young woman's family, and for the family where the dad just overdosed intentionally. Um, it was a family that's gone through the pain of losing the son or a brother, and then 3 years later it resurfaces. And how do you deal with that pain? So anyways, that was the hard part, because I had to
but
I
I
was
didn't
there.
ask you that.
What's that?
I didn't ask you what the hard part was.
Well, I want to share the hard part, because here's the thing, and we're going to talk about fear today, right? So, and then the good thing, well, it's a good, bad thing. The good thing for me, the market that I work in,
Mm,
coffee prices are going insane. So if you're a coffee
I
drinker,
forgot to tell Alec. Uh-huh.
expect, expect everywhere in the world it will go up. And so the good news is last week I've gotten like 6 new accounts,
Oh, good.
and but our prices are going up too.
That's
So
good news.
anyways, it's just one of those things where I'm the good thing for me, the thing I've learned is that I'll be honest with my customers, or honest with prospects, and like be a truth teller, right? So I always am reminded, I don't peddle BS, and tell people, say, hey, this is what we're doing right now, and it could change, it will change. And but yeah, I like helping people, so I'm always learning more about.
That's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, and I'm not learning like just to learn, like, so even for work, it's not like this kind of program type of thing. It's out of compassion, right? But so anyways, that was my week. What was your week like?
It was great. So I've been on vacation. I binge watched a whole bunch of the Beast games. Is that what it's called? Beast games, I think so. So I binge watched that. Wendy, you might like that. It's on Amazon Prime. So I watched that. What else did I do? I did some cleaning. Um, what else did I do? I did a lot of nothing, and it was actually pretty fabulous. Did some meditations.
Cute.
I'm going to work on my office tomorrow. Had a really good meeting with my Marriott boss off the record. So we just like hung out. We're very like-minded. So that was really good. And what else did I do? Worked on some stuff for residual income, like another book and some stuff like that. So yeah, no, it was good. I feel like it was productive, and I feel like I really needed to do that reset of just
Yeah.
like I had big plans going in. I hit the ground running all the way to the couch, and I'm still there. So we'll
Yeah.
see. But you know what? just just chilling out. I don't have anything that has to be done that I would be disappointed if I didn't get it done. So, and you know, it's funny. I intentionally did not make any plans because I knew, like, part of me was like, oh, I could go visit Sandy and I could see Shelly and I can do all these different things. But then that really I didn't, I have some appointments. Al's got one tomorrow. I have two on Friday. And I just want to keep it at that. I
Yep.
didn't want to. And then me and Robert share the car. And so that's cumbersome because I got to pick him up. And so I'll just blow right through a day. So
Yep.
I thought, no, I'm not doing that. So for all my friends that didn't know, I'm sorry. I'm on vacation this week, but we'll regroup. I still have Fridays and Saturdays off, but that
Yeah.
downtime, like even just simple things like washing the blanket and the pillowcases on the couch and stuff like those little things. You know what I mean? I pulled some stuff out and got back behind and yeah, it's good. It feels good, right?
Yeah. Welcome, Carrie. We have somebody else watching. I'm glad I can see my phone who's joining us, which I love.
Good. Hi, Carrie.
Um, and you know what? So it's funny you said that. I was reading something, it was a while ago, right? So it was talking about how we reset, like how talking about wiring and how we like if you're a workaholic, we'll say, right? And all you know is work, busy, 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 and you keep your mind busy and you
Oh,
keep your body busy and all that. And at some point, um, your battery, for a better word, will run out. It needs to go back on the
absolutely.
battery machine to recharge, right?
Yeah.
And so this guy was talking about this. He was a guy from Greece, and not that I'm picking on the men from Greece, but I don't I don't know a lot of psychologists out in Greece. And he said we need to reset at 80, not at 100,
That's right.
right? It says have you need to train yourself that it's okay, like the boundary stuff, say no and all that, but you have to have that boundary with you. So part of it begins like what type of personality are you? Type A, type B, right? Um, and if you've got a lot of moving parts. So I love you saying that, hey, I kind of even though it's to just like not put too much on my plate for the rest of it. I need to not have plans, right?
That's right.
In our chat, for those who are in there, put in there, are you somebody who needs a lot of plans, or are you a person that needs fewer plans? So that's a question for our chat. Or you too. Well, you need lots of plans, usually, to be organized, right?
Yeah, that's like my, mm, I'm a changed person after COVID because, I hit the ground running at 12, had a paper route, then I babysat, then I got my first job at 16, and it's been just like go, go, go. So COVID really taught me how to just stop and slow down. And then now taking some of those skills and taking some
I'm
of
just looking at my bookshelf.
oh,
I don't
okay.
know why.
Um, are you learning how to read? So I think taking some of those in now that I'm back busy again, just finding that balance. And you know what
Yep.
happens if you don't intentionally take it, your body's going to make you take it. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of time, right? So either you control it or, yeah, or else I'm going to end up bottoming out at a time I can't afford to, right?
Yeah.
Like
We
that's
were
the
talking
reality.
about,
Yeah.
so I get to bring my son Ethan to a campus here where town of Chilliwack, and he takes a shuttle to the next town about 30 minutes away. That's Abbotsford, where his campus is, right? So we get to talk. So he wants to be a scientist. He's taking engineering now. He's taking mechatronics, I think it's called. So learning how electricity works and all stuff. So we talked about earthing or grounding. So,
Good.
you know, what I do with my son is ask him, and I don't have a received answer he's going to give me, but we trust each other. I say, so what do you think about this? I just said about he was working on circuits at school, so he was telling me. So I said, so what do you think about, like, there's a thing called grounding where we find earth or grass or something, not concrete, not man-made, but we just take our shoes off and the energy there goes, oh yeah, it goes, that's like he's not dumb, right? So I love that because he's like scientist guy, right? And then we were talking a bit about politics a little bit, which is interesting. So I don't overwhelm him. So but he said this to me. I may have shared this before, but he says, you know what? He goes, we don't what?
What was his answer on the grounding?
He said, yeah, it makes sense. He says because it's the magnetic fields and
Okay,
part of
like just because he's smart and a scientist doesn't
yeah.
mean
So
he ever looked into it, right?
yeah, no, he understands it. Now, would he believe like how ABC, like somebody may go, oh, well, give these things, right? He's so funny because we're talking about not just politics, but information. And so we start talking about capitalism, fascism, socialism, communism, and Marx. So in a 20-minute drive, right? So it's so interesting. So I said, so where do you get your information from? So others, I said, well, so like when we get information, like we can trust the source, right? Are you frozen again?
No, I'm listening. It's my
Oh,
listening face. Have you
it
never
was the
seen
perfect
it?
face. It was like,
I was hanging on your every thought.
but it's talk about learning. It's so interesting to learn, not have a preconcept, like just to listen, like to really listen
Mhm.
and try to understand, right? So it
What
was
I'm
just
trying to
really good.
do.
So and not that I don't and I told him not that I think everything he like we mentioned Hitler and capitalism and stuff too, right? Okay, Wendy just shared something. Yeah, hoping everybody's okay. There's an accident. Does Wendy live in your town?
She's in Forest. She's
Okay,
about 45 minutes
okay.
up
But
towards Toronto.
but see, the thing I did, this is kind of the learning thing, is so he brought up Hitler for some reason, the way Hitler took over and blah blah blah, right? And so I said, like, so where do you get information from? He goes, oh well, there's not, he doesn't get anything from broadline news or anything like you, right? But it's interesting how we come to a conclusion about that. So for tonight, because the only thing I want to do, Michelle, not that I'm going to rush us, but last week we went 2 hours, well, 7 hours. No, we went like a couple hours. We had a good time. But I want to, if we go over an hour, I don't care, but I want to make sure we're going forward because I think this topic is incredibly important
Sure.
because why do we fear? And there's some fears, that are probably good fears, like you be fearful of putting your hand over an open flame, maybe might be a good one.
Right.
Right. So but this thing of where we like where what gives us the biggest strength in the middle, and you'll love it. I told Michelle I have a video. So me and Michelle usually does that. I don't do that. I'm not very techy. But this guy talks for 4 minutes and he talks about
Are we putting it on?
what's that?
Are you going to put it on?
I'm going to tell about it first.
Okay.
But he talks about this placebo effect, but how the strength in the way we believe, good words, bad words, cursing, well, that stuff, right? So let me find it, Michelle. So how do I share it again? Walk me through it.
No, that's okay. So the green share button on the bottom, and when the
Yep.
panel opens up, make sure you click share audio, and then you're good, and then share, and it'll take over the screen.
Okay, so now it says,
So you should see your screen. It's usually up sort of top left.
yep, entire
Okay.
screen. Yep.
Yep,
Click on
tap
that
on
one.
that. Yep, and then I think it's bottom right. It's gonna a little tiny click box, share audio or something. Okay, so it's sharing. Hold on, here it
And now I
comes.
need to put it on the
Tom
right.
started screen sharing. Okay,
Okay, give me a second here. This is the thing I was finding
oh,
about
there we go.
a streaming thing for us.
Holy, look at
Anyways,
all the tabs you got open.
let me go. This is, I closed a whole bunch of them.
That's so funny.
Give me a second. It's slow. I think my internet's real.
Can you make that panel big, the one that's all black right now?
yeah, once it opens, I don't have any.
Oh, you don't have a thing to click. So just so you know, everybody, that's Tom in a picture with our uncles and
There we
this
go.
cousin. Oh, Bruce Lipton. I'm a big
Okay,
fan.
so if I play this, let me know if the sound is there.
Okay.
Feed you with an idea that you
Sound?
are susceptible to
Great.
something. Look, I can feed you with an idea that this pill that we just got from the pharmaceutical company, it's the greatest, best thing for your issue. And I give you this pill and you get better. And then later you find out it was a sugar pill, and everybody goes, yeah, that's called the placebo effect. I go, what does it really mean? I said, you didn't get healed by the pill, you got healed by the belief in the pill. And I go, well, yeah, that's what placebo is all about. And at least 1/3, minimum of 1/3 of all medical intervention is it's a placebo effect that where the healing comes from. Everybody goes, yeah, I know about the placebo. I go, yeah, but that's a result of positive thinking. What about negative thinking? And this is what we don't talk about, but the reality is it's equally powerful in regard to affecting your biology as is positive thinking, but it works in the opposite direction. A negative thought is called the nocebo effect. Can cause any disease and you can die. If you believe you're going to die, you can die from the belief. So we really have to watch out because, as psychologists would tell us, 70% or more of our thoughts are negative and redundant, replaying the same negative thoughts. I go, if thoughts had nothing to do with it, fine. But thoughts, positive or negative, shape our biology. And all of a sudden it says, well, now it's time to wake up because our negative thinking is manifesting a negative life experience. The only problem is this: when you invest so much money into a belief system, and then a belief system isn't really right, you try to hold on as long as you can because you spend hundreds of billions of dollars in this belief. You don't want to just, oh, okay, we'll just change it. So it's a struggle, but the reality is coming forward and the public is just becoming aware of it. And it's a revolution because, as I said, if you believe genes control your life, you're a victim of your heredity, right? Yeah, okay, when I say genetic control, that's the belief that genes control our characters. When I say epigenetic control, almost sounds the same, but epi means above. So when I say epigenetic control, literally it's control above the genes. And this is what we now recognize, that the environment, and very specifically our perception of the environment,
Perception.
changes our genetic activity. So that means, well, wait, that's not a victim because I can change my environment. I can change my perception. And all of a sudden, if I can do that, then I can control my genes. Well, we're going from victim to mastery. So when parents have one child, they raise it like the first child. Okay, I raise the child this way. After that, if they have a second child, well, they already have all the different experiences of having a child. So they raise the second child different than they did the first child, et cetera, to the third. What's the point is, well, I can start with the same genetics, like my stem cells, same genetics, but it's the environment in which the genes are found that will determine the character and expression. Now, what people have to understand about epigenetics is it changes the reading of the gene. It does not change the gene. If you're born with gene X, you're always going to have gene X, but how will it express itself? I go, well, it depends on your life and your character, your behavior, your environment. It's genes plus environment. If it was just genes, I would be able to tell you exactly here's what's going to happen. But most of that is changeable by how you live and where you live. So you got about 7 major diseases, only one gene. If you got that gene and the gene card shows it, okay, you know, you've got that gene, you're going to deal with it. All the other diseases are multiple genes. Cancer is a minimum of 12 to 14 genes, so it's not an accident. You can't change one gene and get cancer. You have to change 12 to 14 genes, and all of a sudden, then probability is a chance. It's like, no, we are creating a cancer, and we can uncreate a cancer. People have spontaneous remissions, but they change it not by changing their biology, but by changing their mind.
Good job. Uh-huh.
Have you seen that one before?
He's so good.
Okay.
He's
Well,
so
because
good.
you're special. Did it change you?
Yeah,
Did it
it
change
did.
you in any way?
And Bruce Lipton, it's so funny. As soon as I saw that that's who it was, I wrote down discovered epigenetics and So a lot of the changes, hate to tell you, Tom, he's talking about meditation. But
No, no,
um,
he
he,
didn't say that. He said my words.
I know. But if you watch more of his stuff, him and Greg Braden and the other one, they're three amigos. They actually do a great YouTube video called Three Amigos. But he did you watch anything with him when he talks about the first 7 years of your life?
No.
He is really big on that about um, the first 7 years, what an influence they have on you, and how we're setting that foundation. And he does some really good talks about it, where he's also going into different cultures, like Chinese and different ones, where they're so focused on that first 7 years. It's just
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah.
He's great, and he actually, he came forward with a lot of this information, and he really got. They tried to cancel him in his own industries. Then everything came to light, and now he's a legend. Bruce
Yeah.
Lipton. Yeah. He's really
Well, and I
good,
think
and he's right.
Well, and I think so, but and here's the thing. So when I speak, some of the time I play the devil's advocate. So I think I told you before, I was in grade 11 in some social class in Toronto, where I was on a debating team. So what
Told us.
we learned to do is to think of both sides, right? And I think it's healthy because so I want to use the 7 years thing because I actually know that. I think I didn't see his video. I think I read something and he was a part of what I read. And it was talking about see, when we talked about nurture nature, like a lot of stuff we're talking about is actually coming, like this is this core of it, right? And so here's the thing. If take the first 7 years, you and me in our journey, the good and bad that influence us, shapes us, right?
Yeah.
If those times had whatever challenges, like all over the map, not just you and me, but everybody, right?
Yeah, of course. A poor mom
That,
versus a rich mom goes all the
yeah,
way back.
a single family member, single child, multiple, living in Scarborough where it was poor Jamaicans where we lived. We were white, but poor Jamaicans compared to downtown Toronto, all this stuff, right? But the thing is that I love that stuff because when I work with people, like I don't go the right, but part of work trying to have people overcome fears, phobias, depression and some stuff. And I do think he didn't say anything bad about, but sometimes we do need like something. I'm not a big druggy guy, like prescription drugs, but sometimes like I need iron. My body doesn't produce iron and stuff, right? But the thing is this. So we use the 7 year. I didn't show that one, but I know which one you're talking about. And all of a sudden you get to where we are now, and some people like if their first 7 years were hard, then they recycle it as an excuse not to
Oh, some
get out
people
of it.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. But some people, and you hear these great stories that people aren't limited by negativity, you know what I mean, or hardship or whatever, right? There's some great stories. But
Sure.
what was that?
Yeah. No, I agree. But it's not so like it's more like your limiting beliefs. It's more like being scared of water because your mom's scared of water, or you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you're exactly right. It never limits you. I mean, I know people that are raised by drug dealers. Don't
Yeah.
judge me. And they come out completely different ways. Some are
Yeah.
worse than the parents, some
Yeah.
I'm so proud of, right? So yeah, yeah. It's interesting.
And some of it,
Let's look it
it's
up.
you remember they tell you, they go, oh, I'll use, like, this is a hard one. I hope this doesn't trigger anybody, but they go, oh well, I mean, the world has had they've shifted their mindset over the years. They go, oh well, if you were abused but as a child, then the percentage likelihood that you would abuse somebody, blah blah blah. That was like in the 80s. So they were saying if you're molested, all this stuff, right? And it was depending on men, women, different things. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if it was the 90s or 2000s, where it says, no, if you went through bad parenting when you have your first child, you want to be better than the bad parenting. So it's all about mindset. But here's the thing we're talking about. So we're talking about fear, right? Because you may not call some stuff fear, but here's the deal, right? What you think and what you believe will either help you overcome and be better, right? Or it will, like they say in some movies, it will mess you up, right? This mindset, and go back to meditation and these things. Meditation, I was saying this to Michelle. I don't we talk about this after the show. I told Michelle, I'm going to get busted here. I don't care, Michelle. I told Michelle, there's some of my friends that are very churchy people, right? Really good people. And they hear a word meditation and they go off to some weird acid trip or I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're back in the 70s, right?
Can't wrap
And you
my
try
head
to,
around it.
what's that?
I said, I can't wrap my head around it.
I know. So me and Michelle's great. She's going like, I don't get it, right? And I'm going like, it's like I know some people that think like, cannabis is the devil's lettuce. So it depends on what you believe, what you experience, what we talked about, nature versus nurture.
And there's those limiting beliefs, right? Who planted the seed that it's the
Are we going to
devil's
hit
lettuce?
are we going to say every topic in this one show? Are we going to say every topic we hit for 52 weeks? Because we've hit like 6 already. Limiting
But
beliefs,
that's the way it works. That's
perception, perspective.
it's
Right.
like a big onion. We're peeling the layers every week.
So the meditation I was going to say to whatever, just I want to throw it out there. Like if you don't understand what meditation is, ask me and Michelle. We'll give you whatever. Me and Michelle probably meditate different, but I really believe we do it for the same result. And it's really about the result. Do you know how to, like we talk about reset? Do you know how to just calm, not be shaped and formed by external voices? Trust your internal voice, right? Remind yourself, as Michelle does, that you're awesome and that you have the ability to, when I say be what you want to be, if 100 of you say, I want to be the next prime minister of Canada, go for it, but I'm not sure. But the thing is, if you want to be well mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, if you set off this year and go, you know what, I'm a month in, and you know what, I'm going to take the challenge, whatever you want to put it, and go, you know what, I want the best for me this year. I want whatever 2025 will be. It's going to be a better year anyways, just saying. If you want to be open, if you don't meditate, then talk to me and she'll be willing to try something in the morning. You don't have to do an hour or whatever. I explain what I do. I reset every day. Like I have to, because of the work I do, I have to have a reset. And you know what I reset for is because I feel like, it feels like, what's the word, where I don't want my top to overflow. And to me, it's my mind, the way I think, process, right?
That's right. That's right. And if you want to just try, like I highly recommend that just start with a body scan. Like you're not doing positive affirmations or anything. It's walking you through, feel your toes are relaxed, feel your foot's relaxed, but more pleasant than the way I'm saying it. But you can do that like 10-minute body scan. That's all you need to look up. And if for no other reason, it's going to relax you, but stick it out to the end. Don't do what Tom does and quit halfway through.
I don't quit halfway through.
Yes,
so
you do. You told me.
But here's the deal. Okay. Michelle, the body scan, right? Just saying, right? This is something like Captain Crunch to cornflakes, whatever, right? So the body scan, my left leg, my left foot leg, I don't feel anything. So I can't scan that leg.
That's fine. You don't feel anything half the time anyways.
Left out anyways. What?
Your left leg has feelings. Why are you being like that?
It's so it's on pins and needles.
You can't have an opinion unless you see it through to the end.
Yeah. So anyways, so I actually have done a body scan, maybe not the one to the end, but the point of it is this. So me and Michelle, we're allowed to be family on here. It's great. But here's the thing, right? Be willing. If you're happy with your life right now, keep doing the same stuff.
Absolutely.
Simple, right? If craft dinner works for you every day of the week,
go for it. Yeah, use real butter. Just saying.
But yeah, but the thing is, if you want to shift one little bit, I was talking to some about fear last week. It's kind of what triggered it, right? Because I did a course on fears and phobias and panic attacks and all that. And so the guy who teaches it, the psychologist of Vancouver, Stephen King is his name,
Ooh,
and he's like he's a little English dude, 4'11". He's hilarious. But he talks about, like, he uses this thing about phobia. So where phobia comes out of fear, and in this and anxiety and these things like are these overwhelming thoughts that we fan the negative flame, and all of a sudden you get sick. You like my daughter, she was working today, but I told her what we're talking about, and me and my daughter are working through this, right? But she's overwhelmed, and her anxiety and stress are so overwhelmed. She has horrible migraines. She has, just different types of issues, right? And we're trying to work back, and then her daughters too a little bit, because they're picking up on the nature. And it's not that my daughter's trying to do anything bad, but part of it is takes little bits of steps. So you know what? Wake up. I told her the other day, wake up in the morning, before you do anything, meditate.
I'll send
Meditate.
her some. She has to send me a friend request, but I'll
Yeah.
send her some if she's interested.
I'll bug her. But go ahead.
I was just gonna, I love that you mentioned that because, a little side note, because I've been on vacation, I've watched a lot of stuff this week. And the one video I was watching, and they're all too long to share, but the one was setting the ideal morning routine. And the
Yeah.
one thing that this guy said, can't tell you who it was because I've seen 1,000 of them now. But what he was saying is one of the best activities you can do to wake up your system and kickstart your metabolism is just be in, you don't have to be staring at, but go to where a window has the light coming right in, or be in the car and not wear your sunglasses. Within a 30-minute period of waking up, that's going to be such an important part of generating dopamine. It initiates dopamine as well, which is the joy blah, 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 stuff. So
Happy
that,
place.
yeah, exactly. So I thought that was really interesting. And in our kitchen, we have a big sliding door. So the last couple of days I've done that. I don't look at the sun, but I just stand letting the sun hit me. Stay tuned. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah. See, and I love that. See, I know some people, like, if we don't, we don't want to grow, then don't do anything. Do what you're doing, right? Live in your cesspool. Now, I'm not saying to you, anybody watching, but if people want to live in their cesspool of negativity, right, then live it, because it'll affect your mental, physical health for sure, right? So things like Michelle said, sunlight. I know some people in the morning that their routine is they get up, make a cup of coffee. I don't know, like, if they brush their teeth, whatever, or wash their face. I have no idea that part of the routine, right?
Sure.
And they go sit on their deck outside, fresh air, oxygen, fresh oxygen, and the sun.
Right.
And they'll sit there for like 20 minutes or whatever, however long.
Sure.
And they don't bring a book, they don't bring their phone, and you sit there, right?
Yeah.
And those types of things are important. If you're Michelle, you and I should do this. Like, you talk about videos that are too long. Maybe in the next couple weeks, let's bombard our page with different things. One of the things I said before is I'm doing. I've started a food page, which I'm doing. I've got some good response. If you guys want to, I'll share maybe the page on here after. If you want to share food, it doesn't have to be like me. I'm sharing pictures of what I do, some recipes, my stuff, right? But it's really about a place of information where we encourage each other. Michelle, you belong to a food group that has what, 10 million people or something?
Well, I don't know.
What's the group you have?
Oh, my Starting News Losing It page?
No.
What do you mean? What
What's
page?
the-
Starting Your Rocks? What page?
No, it's about food. It's about food, and it's something you said that had tens of thousands or whatever people on it.
A food page? No.
Okay, we'll talk about it later
I
because
don't
she's
know.
This is
I'm not
really weird.
sure. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, no, not sure what you're
So-
talking about today.
So I did that because what gives you life. Cooking is another thing too. That's
I love
actually,
language.
there's something about, like, even if you cook for yourself, there's something about it. It doesn't take a long time, right? But one of the things that I've been thinking about, going like, I want to share. There's something, and Michelle probably has some information I might not have on releasing your creative side. How do you like that for a topic?
I love that. Yeah, for sure.
Michelle does her tie dyes and different things, and for different reasons for a long time. But part of it is mechanically doing it. It's like I used to do the flip cup art and stuff. I'll share some of my stuff on here. I did years ago. I'm going to do painting again, I think.
Oh, good. I love that. Yeah.
Expensive, but whatever. But so there's something about, because most people, oh, I'm not creative. I don't do art, or I don't do music and whatever. There's so many things to be creative with. Like, and here's the thing, there's something about using that part of your brain,
Right. Get
which,
you in the zone.
yeah, there's
Right.
something, even if it's like, there was tests done at seniors home with people with dementia and stuff, and they would get them to do like a tactile, like, you know how some old folks home, they'll do a little sewing of the little, have like a round thing and a picture of a rose, and they would sew it. I don't know what it's called, not crochet. I don't know anything about sewing, right?
Embroidery, maybe.
Embroidery. There you go. See, do you do that stuff?
High five, Wendy. No, my mom did. I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a hooker. I did rug hooking.
Well, I knew that, but that's an expensive, anyways. But part of what it is sometimes it becomes like just methodical. You don't have to think about it.
That was my mom. She was a knitter, and it'd just be ticket, 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 and she's watching Jeopardy and answering. She'd be like, "Oh, look, a sweater."
No.
I was
Look,
I was so adopted. I hated all that stuff.
he was a knitter and a hooker. Look, a baby brother.
And here I am making, hey, my feet right now are on a rug I made for my parents when I was about 14.
There you go.
I'm scared to wash it. It'll probably fall apart. But yeah,
That's
true
funny.
story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, some of these things, so we're talking about ground, we're going over the map, but this thing is about fear. Take fear out of it. If you live, my son, I was saying earlier, or he said this before, he goes, my generation, like, the world feels pretty crappy, right? And he's not really a negative kid, by the way.
No, I
And-
get where he's getting it from.
Yeah.
I'm
And
not
so-
surprised.
Even if it's true, even if there's truth in it, how do we, how you're stuck in it, or you take a boat to a small island you own, right?
Thinking.
So part of it is, and see, we forget the influence. So I talk about influence a lot, but here's the thing about fear, positive, negative, right? Fear is always negative. If the energy you create with that will help you
Oh, sorry, the
to,
dog.
like, if you take fear and go, why am I scared of the dog?
The dog.
Is that the dog?
Come on, Kevin.
How did I know there's a dog there?
I don't know if he'll come up here. Let's see. There he is.
Oh, there he is.
Hey,
Al.
Kevin.
Hey, Al. Hey, Al.
Go
But
up there. Go see your dad, Alec.
but they'll talk about like different things of fear. So forgetting fear of like an animal or spiders, and that's different, phobias like that, right?
You're a
But all of a
failure.
sudden, you might not use the word fear, but you go, you know what? Oh, I hate my job. I'm stuck, but I can't. And you're regurgitating. What do you call it, Michelle? Let's hit all the hashtags from last year. ST. It's an S, not an ST with another letter. Stinking.
Thinking. You scared me there. Uh-oh, your face froze. Did I lose him? Did we lose him? Now my camera's all weird from looking at the dog. Did I lose you or did you lose me? You were frozen.
It's always me, I guess, right? But it's stinking thinking, right? So how do you change that? That one seems the hardest, but it's actually the easiest. And we might do something a little bit later saying, take one negative thought that you have, that your consistent negative thought, and replace it with a positive thought.
That's right.
So instead of sit there saying, you know what? Oh, I don't like the way I look. What would you switch it to, Michelle?
Could look worse.
I could look like Betty down the street. No joking. But
Mhm.
focus, like, we talked about plants like all last year, the negative and positive effect, right? That actually affect, not getting into too much of it, the part of our world, I believe, for getting, greenhouse gases and all these other types of different things, right? Airplanes, like, leave all that stuff, right? But I believe, organically, I don't even know how to say this without it sounding so weird. Somebody, you might like it, Michelle. Like,
Listen,
the negativity, like the negative energy, I'll say it that way, the negative energy on any level, on human level, on earth and all that, has a negative effect on the earth,
yeah,
right? So humanity, if, like, there's studies that were shown during World War II, World War One, and then there was other things, but there was stuff that happened outside of the wars happening with, bombs and guns and all that, but there was things happening to the environment and nature. There was things like, not like tornadoes. I have to find this article from a long time ago, but it's interesting how the angst mankind had against each other, how it had an effect in the environments in those settings.
oh, I know what you're talking about. Now
Yeah.
I know.
Hi, Anne Marie. Beast
That's
games.
so,
Talking about beast games.
no, so that's so interesting. So there's a way that they can monitor the energy on the planet, just like,
Measure, yeah.
right? So just like how I'm exuding energy right now, and when I'm, if I'm angry, fearful, closed in, any of those emotions, my energy stays close to me. But when I'm helping others or feeling whatever, joy, happy, then it's bigger. So there's been studies on the planet on when different things happen. And it's so funny because, of course, me focusing on like the positive part of that, the couple studies that I saw was right after 9/11 and right after, what was the other one, that our positive energy spiked. And it wasn't because 9/11 was a positive thing, because we know it wasn't. But in that moment, within like 3 days of that happening, all politics, all religions, everything was out the window. They were New Yorkers helping New Yorkers. They were, right? Like when you think of all like the people that came in boats, Manhattan's an island, right? They came and they saved them and helping each other. So a lot of times in tragedy, which that was a very tragic event, when those things happen, it boosts our positive energy meter or whatever you call it officially, because we're all coming together. Nothing else matters. And right now, in current society, we've never been so divided, right? I mean, there's 10,000 things right now that can make us and them, if you buy into that, of course, and give it your energy. So we're probably at the very lowest point compared to, although if some people are embracing the change, right?
Yeah.
Like that's going on. So who knows how that's reading actually, now that I think about that. But I found it very interesting because,
Yeah.
and it's other times over time when they've had historic, terrible events that everybody is just like, you know what, I don't care who you voted for now. You need a coffee, or here's my blanket, or
Yeah.
whatever. We're seeing a lot of that in Los Angeles, aren't we? With
Yeah.
the coming together after the fires.
Well,
Yeah.
and here's the thing. I'm glad you went to those things, because these things. So imagine your whole being, your body, your mind, whatever, your soul, spirit, your, I don't know,
Whatever
bag
you
of
want to call
chips,
it.
whatever you have, right? Bag of
Yep.
chips. But your whole being, think of it as like a country, right? And how different parts, the way our mind works compared to the mechanical parts of our body, there's cause and effect, right? I'll use for an example, because you made me write down like 4 things. So here's a couple of funny things, right? Not funny, interesting things, right? So you get a guy come home from work, had a tough day at work, comes home, kicks the dog, bad day, or stupid dog, get on my way, right? And that's habitual. And then all of a sudden, the the guy doesn't have to kick the dog. The dog is going to, in that environment, it's going to react in that negative way to something there. It's like when they put out the electric fences for cows, the cows bump into, oh, I don't like this feeling. Then they take the fence down actually, right? It's like, go look up. I don't know much about now, but go look up some of the differences with countries like North Korea to South Korea. Same island, very, very similar weathers than that. But there's a mindset of in there that if there's some beautiful places in North Korea, but you go look at some of the landscape, just the lands itself, right? So there's things like that. But here's the funny thing. You mentioned about the fires. You mentioned about bad things happening, like after the war, boomers, like, well, the good and bad of Abraham, tons of babies, right? But there's a thing about reforesting, and the whole idea with fires, like we think of the fires that we have out here and that, and everything's burnt to the ground, and then through a horrible situation, the way life will come back. It'll reforest, right? So the things with us internally. So fear. We're talking about fear. Fear isn't growing and reforesting and watering and nurturing. Fear is the match, and then the match, it becomes a stick, like not a stick, like those big clubs they would walk, like going through the caves, like, or then I'll blow. So there's something about fear, and so fear affecting anxiety, all that. So all of a sudden it becomes bigger and bigger. And actually it started as a match. It was like, and sometimes it's a presumption or assumption. Like I told my son about talking about Hitler. I said, what do you know about Hitler? He goes, well, I've read a few things. I said, I'm not saying the guy's a good dude, I'm not saying that at all. But if you want to understand it, go read history, read some information, because he wasn't a good man. So leave that. But you know what he did? If you look at a practical, he took a country, and there was other leaders too, by the way, that did some of this too. He took a country that was in the deepest depression that they had been in. He turned it around. So forgetting the kind of kooky kind of,
when he went too far, right?
Well, but you can have somebody that's got a strength in here, but then kind of got some challenges, right? So think of that dual citizen like Al and who are you again? Michelle and Al, same person, right? But
Wendy, I could be Wendy.
We can have that dual citizenship or mindship in our brain, and it's okay. Like we talk about things that trigger us, like, oh, stupid driver, oh, okay, I'm better, okay, done, right? And then Michelle says, think about maybe you don't know they're about their day. So I do that, by the way. But that internal thing, you want to shift the negative to positive.
Right.
Just like you want the sun to be absorbed by your body and the air and whatever. So getting rid of the stinking thinking, getting rid of your fears. And here's the other thing. I don't know what you think of this, Michelle. Some of the things, because it sounds negative, some people say, name your fears. Don't be scared of them. Name them. And then once you name them, because you're getting rid of it, not name it to build on it, but go, you know what? I'm scared about when I retire that I'm not gonna have enough money. Gone. Left me. Then, you know what? I changed my thinking for saying, you know what? Why am I worrying about 3-5 years down the road? I'm not there yet. I'm gonna take care of today. Right?
That's right. Exactly. So funny that you mentioned that. So I have a friend, her name's Ellen, and we did a private Zoom. She's not here in town, but I know her through coaching. So Ellen and I had a nice little coffee visit the other morning through Zoom, and she starts telling about, is there a book on the shelf?
What's that?
Are you looking for a book?
I'm here.
So she starts talking about where she lives, that they have a lot of snakes, gardens, some sort of snakes. Anyways, and they come right up on the porch and they drive her crazy. She doesn't like, oh, I was talking to her about grounding. And she was like, I can't do that because we got these snakes. So she says there was a snake that always came up to her back door all the time. And it'd be sitting there waiting for her. And she hated it and it freaked her out, or all that stuff. So her husband says, you got to name it. So she did. So they named it, I think it was Sam. So they named the snake Sam. And then every morning she'd see him. And instead of panicking, she'd be like, good morning, Sam. don't come in, or I don't know, whatever. But it turned into playful banter. Then all
Oh, I
of a
love
sudden,
it.
she noticed Sam wasn't there. She was worried about him.
And
I don't know. That's
don't leave
where,
us hanging. Well,
yeah, I don't know what happened after that, but it totally ties in with your example.
and here's the thing. So I'm looking at a book. So I used to, John Maxwell's a guy I really like, leadership kind of book. He had a book called Developing Yourself as a Leader, Developing Leaders Around You. And I think he's practical business, right? But it's funny when you were saying that, I was thinking of people that would have, they would be worried about their kids having an imaginary friend, right?
Oh, yeah,
And but the thing is about imaginary friend, because some people go, oh, like now be, oh, like we got to get him to 7 psychologists, we got to see where he's on the spectrum, whatever, right? But that part of your brain that you use, you're like, that's talking the first 7 years, by the way, too, right? There's something incredibly powerful about that. Like it doesn't have to be negative. Now, if they have like a fearful imaginary friend that's like like freaky or whatever, might need some help. But I just want to read this thing. So this, just 2 seconds. So it says lightening your leader's load. So what I'm thinking about, like when I'm reading this, I am thinking about yourself, right? I'm not thinking about like work or anything like that. It's a personal thing, right? But lightening your leader's load. The thing he's talking about mostly is pass the buck, right? So what we do, I'm not going to read it because I can't see it, but what he talks about, it's an older book too. He says, like taking inventory of yourself, taking like you with your oxygen. How are you doing with that, by the way?
I'm pretty good. I see my specialist on Friday. Hope I
Yeah.
have a good number.
So taking like authentic, like if you don't have a starting point of being honest with yourself, and like here, I'll use this. I don't like the language like, oh, I don't like myself. I don't like the way I look. I don't like that stuff, right? But it's okay. Like for me, it's okay for me to say, you know what? I want to lose another 50 pounds because I want to have an opportunity for the surgery. Nothing wrong with that, right?
Yep.
I want to eat better. It doesn't have to, so it doesn't be a negative, but you're flipping it to a positive, right? So the thing is, we don't pass the buck. We don't pretend like we don't make up imaginary kind of stuff to you don't have to make up lies to love yourself. Love yourself first.
Right.
And if you don't love yourself, maybe that's the first thing you do in the morning. You
Yeah.
go in the mirror in the bathroom, say, I love you, you're awesome, you're the only one that's with me 24/7, nobody else gets that privilege. Right?
See? And throw some damn it's in there.
Yeah. Then when you go outside in the sunlight and the neighbors all around are having coffee, scream it. I am awesome. You don't know what you're missing. Right. Anyways,
Do you
have
know
fun.
what's funny about that? Is that's me.
100%. That's why I said it.
And it's so funny because it comes out of my lips so easily now that sometimes right
Infomercial.
away, I wonder. I mean, I don't retract it, but I notice I'll just be like, "Oh, yay me," or "Oh, that was good. Well done, Michelle." Da, 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 like almost coaching myself, and then I think, "Huh," like I'm in a group Teams meeting or something, and I'm like, "Hmm. Well, I don't know. We should all be so confident. Not perfect, but I'm consistent, right?"
Yeah.
Funny.
And you know
World's
what,
not
right?
ready.
It's we have like in the industry I'm in, there's probably you do, there's etiquette, right? We have these things. You
Some
remember
of us
saying,
have
oh,
it.
I want to be careful my inside voice doesn't become my outside voice, right?
Yep.
And that's probably a balance there, but we want to change the inside voice. So the things that rattle us, um, and I'll throw a few things out before we get done. Like if relationships rattle you, family members that just trigger you, right? If work things, if people at work, like people aren't treated fairly, or maybe you're not, and maybe you know misinformation at work where somebody's getting credit for a job you did, and all these things are not easy. So I'm not saying they're easy, but so I'm not even talking about fear now. I'm going to a place of anger, resentment of those things, because they kind of play off each other. They're like a there's something like spoiled food or something, right? So you have to trust. Michelle used the word karma.
Mhm.
You have to trust, and I do, and I know Michelle does, that we do good because it's the right thing to do, number one,
Yeah.
and what we put forth comes back.
That's right.
It may not look the way you thought. You'll be surprised, right? Like me and Michelle. I'm going to finish with this, and then you have the next 45 minutes. I'm joking. You have the next.
Bring
Um,
it.
with Michelle and I, we've shared this about like our lives, right? We weren't raised together. We have the same mom. We're really thankful for this last year. One of the things I was really thankful for looking 2024 had some issues, right?
Yeah.
But Michelle and I have gotten on this journey where we've gotten to know each other more. Um, I think with unbiasedness, right, Michelle? I think
Oh,
we've
absolutely.
so so that, not that there was never any animosity, but what happened was we were able to invest the best into each other, right? That's why we do the show, by the way. We don't get paid. We don't have any we don't have any sponsorships yet. And so, Michelle, look.
Apple juice.
Yeah, I should
Oh,
Adidas,
brought to you by
yeah,
Inhalers.
there you go.
They'll have the best money to pay us.
But we know this, right? And in the world, do bad things happen to good people, and good things happen to bad people, obviously. But you can't control that. You can control yourself. So you know what I want to do is I want to do right, right? And I want to do, but here where it begins with you. You have to, um, for whatever reasons, probably topics we can talk about forever about this, Michelle. We
We will.
we saboteur ourselves.
1000%. That's right.
And here's the thing, it could be a little bit, then a little bit. Like it's like if you go off course like 1 degree, they'll say, like if you had a chart of a map, like a boat or something, you go 1 degree and then you keep moving out and it goes bigger and bigger and bigger, right? It's
Yeah.
like a little lie. It's like that game telephone. You say blah 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 blah, and someone goes blah 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 blah, and all of a sudden, a little bit by little bit, things change, and all of a sudden you get back to the root of it. Then you go, oh, that's really not what's happening. Go back to reforesting. This is my last thought. Reforesting in your brain, in your mind, in your heart, in your relationships, right? What reforesting is, it's like toiling the ground. It's like saying, you know what? I want to prepare the ground, my mind, my heart, my life, to grow good stuff, right?
Exactly. Sorry, I was trying to find that what you just said. I had the actual data. Wendy, if she's still watching, might remember that I shared in one of my other groups. And it was if you move the nose of a plane, it was like 3 centimeters or something, it ends
Yeah.
up in a whole different city. Like, and I forget exactly what it was, but it was very interesting and it's so true. And at the end of the day, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Like
Yeah.
we have the power to have whatever we want in life, but it takes effort. It
Yeah.
takes being not comfortable. It takes getting out of your zone, maybe
Yeah.
doing some learning for whatever that is, right? But
Yeah.
being open to, be your best self. And we have to be on a lifelong learning journey, or else what are we doing here? Right? I mean, if you're like I'm great where I'm at right now, but I can't say I want exactly the same 10 years from now, right? I'm good today, but I'm still not at my goal weight. I still have some things to work on, career, maybe knock some stuff down, make some residual income. But every single thing I just mentioned comes with a plan and a step one.
Yeah.
It's not right. It's like when we talk about the law of attraction, like I believe it's as real as I'm sitting here, but I also don't think I can go, I need a dream job. And some guy's going to come to the door and offer it to me. I need to be in the right place at the right time or get myself qualified or whatever that looks like, right? It's like living in the basement, and I'm not saying my son in the like I'm just saying in general, being in the basement and saying not having a job and then expecting a girlfriend. Where are you going to meet the girlfriend? I'm not letting her in to do laundry. What?
Yeah. Well,
Right?
and that's your mindset for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a great joke. It's a silly joke. It's a little churchy, but it's fine. And it's this guy's hanging on a branch over a cliff. He fell over the cliff, grabs onto a branch, and right before, like 100 feet below him are rocks, and if he falls, he's gonna die, right? Or water, rock, whatever it is, right? And so he goes, "Oh God, please help me! I'm gonna die!" Right? And then so all of a sudden, a boat comes from the bottom, say, "Hey, like jump in the water, we'll save you." No, no, I'm waiting for God, right? And then all of a
Oh,
sudden, the helicopter comes, or no, a guy comes running there and says, "Hey, like, here's my hand. I put my hand down. Let me pull you up." He goes, "No, no, no, no. I'm waiting for God." Right? And then
hmm.
the helicopter, and then the guy falls and dies. And he goes, "Oh God, like, where were you?" And he goes, "Well, I sent a boat, I sent a guy, and I sent a helicopter." Right?
Yeah, you had to put some effort into it.
Yeah. So part of what it is, so leaving the God or thing out of it, depending how your wiring is, what it has to be is be acutely aware of today, right? Today, you go, you know what? Like Michelle said, these are my goals. What's step one?
Right.
And if your goal first is to clean house mentally, get rid of anxieties and fears and depression, and it takes work. So I'm not selling you a placebo
right.
pill, right? But if you don't believe that you can overcome depression and anxiety, if you don't believe that you can change your circumstances this year, I want my daughter to meet, not right away, a guy that will treat her with respect and dignity.
Of course.
But she has to work through the trauma in her life.
That's
If
right.
you're on here, daughter, I apologize, but nobody knows you but me and Michelle, or my other sisters know you too. But you have to like make room by getting rid of the negative stuff so you can put in positive stuff. So
Exactly.
here's the challenge. This week on the page, today is Wednesday, to the following Wednesday, so we'll give you a week. Put down on our page to encourage us something that you're going to do that's going to improve you or make the better of you. I don't know how you want to say that, Michelle. How would you say that? Like a step. Say, hey, like your own personal thing doesn't be real personal, but if you go, hey, I'm going to go outside and I'm going to get some
One. Yeah.
sunshine, or I'm going to get up and meditate, or
More water.
I'm not going to watch. I'm going to, this, I don't know, fast from the news for a week or.
I like that one. No
So they're
social
just
media.
things, because if you share them, somebody might go, "Oh, yeah, I want to try that."
Yeah,
Because nothing else. So that's a challenge and encouragement for you guys.
that's right. Okay, so here's my quote right off the top of my head. An old one that I haven't shared for a while. I didn't write it, but it's for Emily. You can't be part of you can't be part of two if you're not a complete one, right?
Awesome.
Exactly. All right, you guys. So if you do decide that you're going to take a break from social media, I think that's fabulous, but you can only do it till Wednesday because we got to regroup here. So, so thanks
And,
very
and
much for coming.
and honestly, the social media, like seriously, whatever causes you stress, if it's the news, politics, religion, science, unhealthy thinking, give it a break.
Absolutely. And you have the power to unfollow, you have the power to unsubscribe, right? You can add in some other things, you can hide and delete. I'll tell you something, life for Michelle is a lot different when she has 120 friends versus 3,000 friends.
Yeah.
And my social media has been way different. So I'm not like my news feed. I can look at it 3 hours later and it still looks the same. That's never been part of my world for a long time. And I'm embracing that. I
Yeah.
was thinking about that. What a great time for me to have downtime from my other job and not have all my social media because I can, and a lot of times it's doing things, sharing on all these pages that I either don't have the resources or my pages are gone. So it's really been good. And I think also, circling back again 2 times over, we don't know if something's good or bad until we're looking at it in hindsight when we're in the state of wisdom. And you're
Yeah.
in wisdom when you're not emotionally attached. So, like COVID, terrible thing, still not saying it was, it itself was a good thing because, but there's some great things that came from it. And a lot of people resetting themselves. Plus, I wallpapered my whole main floor. It looks pretty good.
There you go. That's awesome.
All right.
Well,
We'll do
thank
it
you,
again.
everybody.
Yeah. Have a great week. Don't forget how awesome you are. And next week we will be back.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.